You can't heal a mask, and a narcissist is a mask that wants applause. Picture this. Someone who seems effortless at feeling exactly what you want: warm when you need comfort, brilliant when you need hope, apologetic when you need closure. But look closer. They don't live in reality. They live on a stage. Their lines are timing, not truth. They don't need to be understood. They need to be admired. Marcus Aurelius warned us, when you chase fame, you stop chasing truth. That's why a narcissist becomes a professional actor. They know when to smile, when to cry, even when to make you feel guilty for their choices. If you've been there, you know the vertigo. You offer sincerity, they offer performance. You share your heart, they scan for angles. It's not love of you, it's love of being loved by you. Ask yourself, when did you start explaining your soul just to keep the peace? When did you begin editing your feelings so their mood could stay center stage? Here's the Stoic lens. Calm does not mean passive, it means sovereign. You do not need to shout to see the truth. In fact, their mask doesn't fall when you raise your voice. It falls when you stop playing your assigned role. When admiration dries up, the script collapses. Behind the confident grin is a frightened child, terrified of being forgotten. And when you step back into reality, you take your power with you. So today, we'll do something different. No chasing, no convincing, no courtroom speeches. We'll use clarity. There is one question, simple, disarming, that pierces the costume and reveals what's underneath. Stay with me, because in a moment, I'll give you that question. And when you hear it, you'll feel the shift from performing for approval to living by principle. You don't have to argue with a performance. Step off the stage, come back to yourself, and let reality do the rest. Next, let's expose the script with one precise question. Some people don't shine on their own. They only glow when someone else turns on the switch. You've probably met someone like that: magnetic, confident, the kind of person who seems to own every room they walk into. They speak like a hero, smile like they care, and for a while, you believe them. But beneath that charm lives a truth most people never see. They don't exist without admiration. Their identity depends on your approval, like a lamp that only shines when someone else flips the switch. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Those who live to be admired by others will die in loneliness." That line perfectly captures the prison of the narcissist. They build their worth on applause, not on integrity. In the office, they're the hero who always takes the credit. In love, they're the perfect partner, until admiration fades. The moment you stop feeding their ego, they turn cold, distant, even cruel. They don't love you. They love the reflection of themselves in your eyes. Seneca warned us, no chain is heavier than the need to please others. That's the invisible chain of the narcissist, forever performing, forever chasing validation. And here's the tragedy. Behind the pride stands a frightened child, terrified of being forgotten. They build palaces around their emptiness and call it a self. So the next time you meet someone who always needs to be admired, remember, you're not standing before power. You're standing before a performance. The real question is, will you keep watching the show or walk off the stage? True confidence doesn't demand admiration, it creates peace in silence. Next, we'll step into the battlefield of the mind, where the narcissist's real power begins. Your reaction. The moment they make you react, they don't need to win because they already own your mind. Have you noticed how some arguments feel like quicksand? The more you explain, the deeper you sink. That's not an accident. A narcissist doesn't need to be right. They just need you to react. Reaction is fuel. So the script is predictable. You're too sensitive. You imagined it. I didn't do anything wrong. Slowly, your memory gets edited, your certainty fogs over, and you start apologizing for bleeding after they handed you the knife. That's gaslighting, reality distortion that turns their fault into your shame. Here's the Stoic lens. Epictetus reminds us, If someone can yank your anger like a chain, it's because your mind handed them the handle. In other words, nobody drives your inner life unless you give them the keys. Marcus Aurelius adds a second edge. The person who refuses to answer an insult has already unarmed the insulter. Silence, in the right moment, is not surrender, it's sovereignty. A brief story. A woman I once coached lived 3 years inside a storm of emotional blame. She tried everything: tears, long messages, proof, timelines. Nothing worked until she stopped performing. No courtroom speeches, no counterattacks, just calm boundaries in space. What happened? Panic. Because when you stop reacting, the game loses oxygen. Control withers without your attention. So what do you control on this battlefield? 3 things. Your pace, slow the breath, slow the story. Your frame, return to facts. Don't chase feelings they assign to you. Your exit, you don't have to play a rigged game, and you don't have to announce you're leaving. Your silence is not empty. It is a decision. Every non-reaction is you reclaiming the steering wheel of your life. Up next, one precise question that punctures the performance and why saying less often reveals more. When admiration is their oxygen, the most powerful move is your quiet. We waste years trying to win a fair fight with a performance. We explain, gather receipts, wait for an apology that never comes. Here's the truth a narcissist cannot bear. Reality doesn't need a witness. They avoid it because truth would force them to face the one person they can't impress themselves. So instead of arguing, try precision. One sentence, no blame, no lecture. Look them in the eye, calm and steady, and ask, if you could never impress anyone again, what would you do? Then stop. No defense, no follow-ups. Let the quiet do the heavy lifting. Why this works? Their identity runs on applause. Remove the audience, and the script has nothing to play to. You'll often see an awkward laugh, a subject switch, a dismissive joke. Don't chase it. The goal isn't to corner them, it's to unhook you. Your silence becomes a mirror they can't control. In Stoic terms, you're withdrawing permission for your peace to be outsourced. A brief story. Claire met a man who sparkled. Generous, brilliant, unforgettable, or so it seemed. Months in, she noticed a pattern. Her feelings were props in his show. One day, she asked the question. He smirked. Of course not. If no one knows, what's the point? Claire didn't need a debate after that. She wasn't in love with a person she'd fallen for a mask. The answer didn't humiliate him. It liberated her. Remember, this isn't a weapon. It's a boundary of clarity. You're not shaming, diagnosing, or trying to fix anyone. You're choosing truth over theater, principles over performance. And sometimes the bravest act is to let the echo of your silence reveal what words never could. You don't need closure from the mask to close the door. Choose the life you respect over the stage that wants your applause. Next, how to hold that boundary without bitterness. A Stoic method to detach with dignity. Detachment isn't distance from people, it's distance from their control. We're taught to fight every fire with more fire, but the Stoics offer a different door. Detachment, not coldness, not punishment, freedom. Detachment means your pulse stops taking orders from someone else's mood. When you no longer react on command, the game ends because a game without your turn has no scoreboard. No anger, their footing slips. No need for an apology, their script runs out of lines. Your silence, it becomes a room where only truth echoes. Seneca warned that revenge just proves the wound still rules you. Epictetus reminded us, your peace is yours until you hand over the keys. So let's get practical. When pressure rises, practice the 3 R's. Reset the breath, 3 slow inhales, buy back your mind. Reframe the moment from proving I'm right to protecting my center. Remove the fuel-short answers. Clear boundaries, no courtroom speeches. A man I coached lived 3 years under emotional bargaining. He tried pleading, explaining, timelines, proof. Nothing shifted until he stopped auditioning for approval. He chose detachment, not disdain. Fewer words, consistent boundaries, space when the conversation turned into a trap. The result wasn't dramatic, it was decisive. Her power faded because it fed on his reaction. His quiet wasn't weakness, it was self-respect made audible. Here's the mindset shift. You're not withdrawing love, you're withdrawing permission for chaos to steer you. Detachment says, I'll meet you at respect. Anywhere else, I won't meet you at all. That's not a wall, it's a threshold. Your calm is not the absence of feeling, it's the presence of choice. Guard it like a duty and watch manipulative dynamics lose gravity. Next, we'll close with a simple daily ritual to keep your boundaries steady without bitterness and build a life that doesn't need applause to feel true. You don't win by exposing them, you win by no longer needing to. Most people think victory means making the narcissist admit their lies, confess their guilt, or finally say, "You were right." But that's not victory, that's still dependence. A narcissist isn't a monster. They're a wounded child trapped inside the image they built to survive. You don't need to destroy them. You just need to stop believing in the illusion they project. The Stoics teach us, when you stop reacting to illusion, illusion collapses on its own. You don't need shouting, blame, or revenge, only truth and silence. Ask the question that no performance can survive. If you could never impress anyone again, what would you do? That question is a mirror. And for the first time, they'll see what they fear most, themselves. Beneath all the charm, control, and pride lies one core terror being forgotten, fading into silence. But here's the shift: that silence doesn't scare you. Because in silence, you find peace, not emptiness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Others may lie, deceive, or betray, but you, keep your soul pure." The Stoic victory isn't about winning over others, it's about mastering yourself. You can't heal the narcissist, but you can heal yourself by no longer letting them define your worth. When you no longer need to be admired, you become something they never can be free, because freedom begins the moment you stop performing for approval. Choose freedom over validation, calm over chaos, clarity over control. That's where real transformation starts, not outside you, but within. The final act of strength isn't confrontation, it's quiet liberation. And that's the essence of Stoic victory, not in fighting shadows, but in mastering your own light.